First contact gone wrong. The sleek silver ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, its hull shimmering in the morning sunlight. On the ground, a sea of upturned faces watched in awe as humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization unfolded. Dr. Samira Patel, Earth's lead xenolinguist, stood at the forefront of the welcoming committee. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Years of study and speculation were about to be put to the test. As the ship touched down on the specially prepared landing pad, a hush fell over the crowd. With a soft hiss, a ramp extended from the vessel's side. Samira held her breath as the first alien figure emerged. The Galatian ambassador was tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. Its large, multifaceted eyes scanned the assembled humans with an unreadable expression. Samira stepped forward, her hands raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "On behalf of the people of Earth, we welcome you," she said, her voice amplified for the watching world. The alien tilted its head, antenna twitching. Then, to Samira's amazement, it spoke in perfect English. "We are the Galatian Alliance. We have come to assess your world's readiness to join the galactic community." As the initial shock wore off, negotiations began in earnest. The Galatians, it turned out, represented a vast coalition of alien races. They offered Earth membership, but with conditions. Humanity would need to prove its worth and abide by strict guidelines. Over the next few weeks, cultural clashes became increasingly common. The Galatians found human emotions unsettling and unpredictable. Humans, in turn, bristled at what they perceived as Galatian condescension. Tensions reached a boiling point during a pivotal meeting at the United Nations. Marcus Kane, a brash young diplomat from Australia, had been growing increasingly frustrated with Galatian demands. As the alien ambassador droned on about the need for humans to evolve beyond their primitive impulses, Marcus snapped. He leaped to his feet, face flushed with anger. "We may not be perfect," he shouted, "but we've come farther in a few thousand years than your lot managed in millions. You don't get to come here and tell us how to live." The Galatian skin flashed a deep crimson, a sign, Samira realized too late, of grave insult in their culture. Before anyone could intervene, Marcus strode forward and jabbed a finger into the alien's chest. It was as if a bomb had gone off. The Galatian delegation erupted in a cacophony of shrill clicks and whistles. Their ambassador turned to Samira, multifaceted eyes glittering coldly. "This meeting is concluded," it said. "You have demonstrated that humanity is not yet ready to join civilized society. We will be in touch regarding further action." With that, the aliens swept from the room, leaving stunned silence in their wake. Samira turned to Marcus, her face pale. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Over the next few days, the situation deteriorated rapidly. The Galatian ship departed Earth orbit, ignoring all attempts at communication. Then came the message that chilled the world to its core. A holographic projection of the Galatian ambassador appeared in the skies over every major city. Its voice boomed out, filling billions with dread. "People of Earth, your actions have proven that you are a danger to yourselves and others. For the good of the galaxy, you must be contained. You have one planetary rotation to surrender unconditionally. Resist, and you will be subdued by force." As panic gripped the globe, world leaders scrambled to form a response. In a secret bunker beneath Washington, D.C., President Elena Rodriguez addressed her advisors. "Options, people. I need them now." General Weizhong, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, spoke up first. "Madam President, our analysis of Galatian technology suggests they possess weaponry far beyond our capabilities. A direct military confrontation would be inadvisable. So we just roll over?" demanded Marcus Kane, who had been brought in as a key witness to the inciting incident. Dr. Patel, who was also present, shook her head. "There has to be a diplomatic solution. If we could just get them to listen." "With all due respect, Doctor," interrupted Dr. Aisha Okafor, Earth's leading physicist. I don't think they're in a listening mood, but I might have an alternative. All eyes turned to the brilliant Nigerian scientist. I've been working on an experimental defensive technology, Aisha continued. It's not weapons, exactly, but a way to disrupt their systems. If we could deploy it effectively, it might buy us time to negotiate. President Rodriguez leaned forward, intrigued. Tell me more. As Aisha outlined her plan, a spark of hope began to grow in the room. It was a long shot, but it might be Earth's only chance. How quickly can you have this ready? The president asked. Aisha's expression was grim. With a full team working around the clock. Maybe 48 hours. But Madam President, there's a catch. To deploy this effectively, we'd need to get it onto their main ship. A heavy silence fell over the room. A suicide mission, General Zhang said softly. Marcus Kane stood up, his earlier bravado replaced by quiet determination. I got us into this mess. I'll volunteer to go. You'll need a team, Samira added, surprising herself. I understand their language, their culture. I'm in. One by one, others in the room stepped forward. A plan began to take shape, a desperate gambit to save Earth from subjugation or destruction. As the meeting adjourned, President Rodriguez pulled Marcus aside. I hope you understand the gravity of what you're undertaking, she said. The fate of our entire species may rest on your shoulders. Marcus nodded, his face solemn. I understand, Madam President. We won't let you down. As they left the bunker, the team's determination was palpable. They had less than 2 days to prepare for a mission that would decide the future of humanity. The clock was ticking, and the Galician fleet was on its way. Little did they know the true nature of the threat. And the test that humanity faced was far more complex than any of them imagined. As Earth braced for war, ancient forces stirred in the depths of space, watching with keen interest to see how this young, fiery species would rise to meet its greatest challenge. Preparing for war. The next 48 hours were a whirlwind of activity as Earth prepared for the impending Galician assault. In laboratories and military bases around the world, humans worked tirelessly, driven by a mix of fear and determination. At the heart of these preparations was Dr. Aisha Okafor's team, sequestered in a high-security facility beneath the Nigerian savannah. Aisha stood before a holographic display, her dark eyes intense as she manipulated complex equations. Dr. Okafor, a voice called. She turned to see Marcus Kane entering the lab, accompanied by Samira Patil and a tall, muscular woman Aisha didn't recognize. Mr. Kane, Aisha nodded. Dr. Patil. And Major Yuki Tanaka, Japanese Special Forces. The woman introduced herself with a crisp bow. I'll be handling the tactical aspects of our mission. Aisha's eyebrows rose. Our mission. Marcus stepped forward. We're your insertion team, Doc. Once you've got that device of yours ready, we're the ones who'll be delivering it to the Galicians. A mix of emotions crossed Aisha's face, relief at not having to go herself, concern for these volunteers, and a touch of guilt for creating the weapon they'd be risking their lives to deploy. I see, she said softly. Well then, you'd better come take a look at what you'll be carrying. She led them to a workbench where a device about the size of a basketball sat. Its surface was a complex array of crystalline structures and pulsing energy conduits. This is the resonance disruptor, Aisha explained. It generates a quantum field that interferes with the exotic particles we believe the Galicians use for their advanced technology. In theory, it should render their ships and weapons inoperable within a certain radius. In theory, Samira asked, a note of concern in her voice. Aisha shrugged. We haven't exactly had the opportunity to test it on actual Galician tech, but the math checks out. Major Tanaka leaned in, examining the device with a critical eye. How close do we need to get for this to work? Ideally, the command center of their main ship, Aisha replied. The effect will ripple out from there, cascading through their fleet's linked systems. Marcus whistled low. No pressure, then. As they discussed the technical details, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A voice came over the intercom. "Attention all personnel. Multiple objects detected entering Earth's atmosphere. This is not a drill." Repeat, this is not a drill. The team exchanged grim looks. The Galatians had arrived early. "We're out of time," Marcus said, his voice tight. "Doc, please tell me that thing is ready to go." Aisha hesitated for a split second, then nodded. "It'll have to be." Within minutes, they were racing towards a hidden hangar. Inside waited their ticket to the stars, a prototype spacecraft, reverse-engineered from recovered alien tech. It was humanity's ace in the hole, a closely guarded secret that might just give them the element of surprise. As they boarded, Major Tanaka took the pilot's seat. "I hope you all packed for a one-way trip," she said, her dark humor masking the tension they all felt. The hangar roof split open, revealing a sky filled with ominous shapes. The Galatian ships hung in the air like massive angular clouds, their surfaces rippling with strange energies. "Hold on to something," Yuki warned as she fired up the engines. The ship rocketed into the sky, its advanced stealth systems their only defense against immediate detection. As they ascended, the devastation below became apparent. Major cities were already under attack, strange energy beams lancing down from the Galatian ships. But rather than explosive destruction, the beams seemed to be deploying some kind of containment field. "They're not destroying the cities," Samura observed, her voice a mix of relief and confusion. "They're quarantining them." "Makes sense if they see us as a virus to be contained," Marcus growled. Their ship shuddered as it punched through the atmosphere. The vast blackness of space opened up before them, filled with the imposing bulk of the Galatian fleet. "There," Aisha pointed. "That has to be the command ship." In the center of the Galatian formation loomed a vessel that dwarfed all others. Its surface was a mesmerizing pattern of shifting geometric shapes, radiating power and alienness. "That's our target," Major Tanaka confirmed. "Any ideas on how we get inside?" Before anyone could respond, their ship rocked violently. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "We've been hit," Yuki shouted, her hands flying over the controls. Stealth systems failing. Through the view screen, they watched in horror as a squadron of smaller Galatian craft peeled away from the main fleet, heading straight for them. "So much for the element of surprise," Marcus muttered. Major Tanaka's face was a mask of concentration as she threw their ship into a series of evasive maneuvers. Energy beams lanced past them, missing by mere meters. "We need a plan, now," she shouted over the sound of straining engines. Samira's eyes suddenly lit up. "Wait, I have an idea." She rushed to the communications panel, her fingers flying over the alien interface. "If I can just modify our transponder signal." A tense moment passed as Samira worked, the Galatian ships closing in with each second. Then, miraculously, the attacking vessels broke off their pursuit. "What did you do?" Aisha asked, amazed. Samira allowed herself a small smile. "I changed our ID signature to match their ships. As far as they can tell, we're just another part of their fleet now." A collective sigh of relief filled the cabin, but it was short-lived. They were now on an unalterable course for the heart of the Galatian armée. As they approached the massive command ship, new alarms blared. "They're scanning us," Major Tanaka reported. "Our disguise won't fool them for long." Marcus moved to stand behind the pilot's chair, his eyes fixed on the looming alien vessel. "Then we do this the hard way. Yuki, can you get us close to one of their hangar bays?" The major nodded grimly. "Strap in, everyone. This is going to get rough." With a burst of speed, their ship rocketed towards the command vessel. Energy beams began to fill space around them as the Galatians realized the deception. Major Tanaka's piloting skills were put to the ultimate test as she wove through the deadly barrage. "There," Aisha shouted, pointing to a shimmering field on the side of the massive ship, an energy barrier protecting a docking bay. "Brace for impact." Yuki yelled as she aimed straight for the barrier. The world seemed to stretch and distort as they hit the energy field. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed they would be disintegrated. Then, with a flash of light and a bone-jarring crash, they burst through into the alien hangar. Their ship skidded across the smooth alien floor, finally coming to rest in a shower of sparks. As the team shakily got to their feet, they could hear the sound of alarms echoing through the vast chamber. "Everyone okay?" Marcus asked, doing a quick head count. They had all survived the crash, but their troubles were far from over. The sound of approaching alien footsteps echoed through the hangar. "Grab what you need and move," Major Tanaka ordered, already pulling weapons from a storage locker. As Aisha carefully lifted the resonance disruptor, Samara's face was pale but determined. "So, what's the plan now?" Marcus checked the charge on his plasma rifle, a grim smile on his face. Now we do what humans do best. We improvise." With that, the team moved out into the alien corridor, the fate of Earth resting on their shoulders. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity's stand against the stars would be decided in the heart of the Galatine command ship. The battle for Earth begins. The corridors of the Galatine command ship pulsed with an eerie bioluminescent light. Marcus Kane led the team through the alien labyrinth, his senses on high alert. Behind him, Dr. Aisha Okafor cradled the resonance disruptor, while Samira Patel and Major Yuki Tanaka brought up the rear, weapons at the ready. "Any idea where we're going?" Marcus whispered to Samira. The xenolinguist's eyes darted around, taking in the strange symbols etched into the walls. "I think, yes, these markings indicate power flow. If we follow them, they should lead us to the ship's core." A piercing alarm suddenly blared through the ship. The corridor ahead of them began to seal off, translucent force fields shimmering into existence. "They know we're here," Yuki said grimly. "We need to move faster." As if on cue, a squad of Galatine soldiers rounded the corner behind them. The aliens were tall, insectoid creatures with multifaceted eyes and chitinous armor. They raised their weapons, strange, organic-looking guns that pulsed with energy. "Go," Marcus shouted, pushing the others ahead as he turned to lay down covering fire. His plasma rifle spat bolts of superheated matter, forcing the Galatians to take cover. The team raced through the closing force fields, each one tingling against their skin as they passed through. Aisha stumbled, nearly dropping the disruptor, but Samira caught her arm and pulled her along. They burst into a vast chamber filled with swirling, holographic displays. Galatine technicians turned in surprise, their antennae twitching in alarm. "The bridge," Samira breathed, her eyes wide as she took in the alien technology. Before they could react, more Galatian soldiers poured into the room from other entrances. The team found themselves surrounded, a dozen energy weapons trained on them. A tall Galatian in ornate armor stepped forward. Its mandibles clicked as it spoke, the words translated by the ship's systems into a monotone English. "Humans, your resistance is futile and irrational. Surrender now, and you will be contained humanely with the rest of your species." Marcus stepped forward, his rifle still raised. "Thanks, but I think we'll pass on the whole zoo exhibit thing. We're here to negotiate." The Galatian commander's multifaceted eyes glittered. "Negotiate? You are in no position to make demands." "Oh no," Marcus grinned. He nodded to Aisha, who held up the resonance disruptor. "You might want to take a closer look at what we brought with us." The alien's antenna twitched rapidly, a sign of agitation. Samira realized. It recognized the threat, even if it didn't understand the exact nature of the device. "You would destroy yourselves along with us?" the commander asked. "Perhaps your species is even more primitive than we thought." Yuki stepped forward, her voice cold. "We're not here to destroy anyone, but we won't be enslaved either. Now, are we going to talk, or—" She was cut off as the ship suddenly rocked violently. New alarms blared, and the holographic displays erupted with frantic activity. "What's happening?" Marcus demanded. The Galatian commander turned to its subordinates, chittering rapidly in its native language. Samira's eyes widened as she translated. Earth is fighting back," she said, her voice filled with awe. On the main display, they could see the Galatian fleet in disarray. Dozens of small, fast-moving craft were darting between the massive alien ships, landing pinpoint strikes that disrupted their energy fields. "Impossible," the Galatian commander muttered. "Your technology is not advanced enough for this." Aisha allowed herself a small, proud smile. "You'd be surprised what humans can do when we put our minds to it." As they watched, more of the alien ships began to falter, their containment beams flickering and dying. On the surface of Earth, points of light flared as ground-based weapons opened fire, catching the Galatians in a deadly crossfire. The alien commander turned back to the humans, its composure shaken. How did you develop these weapons so quickly?" Marcus stepped forward, his eyes hard. "That's the thing about humans. Push us into a corner, and we don't just roll over. We innovate, we adapt, and we fight back." The ship rocked again as another blast struck it. The Galatian soldiers looked to their commander, uncertainty clear in their postures. Samira saw an opportunity. She addressed the commander directly in the Galatian language, her pronunciation careful. "This doesn't have to end in more violence. We came here to talk, to find a way for both our species to coexist." The alien was silent for a long moment, its antenna waving slowly as it considered. Finally, it spoke. Perhaps we have underestimated your kind." But before negotiations could begin in earnest, a new voice boomed through the ship, deep, resonant, and utterly alien. The Galatians recoiled, dropping to their knees in what looked like terror. "Enough," the voice said, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "The experiment has reached its conclusion." The humans exchanged confused looks. "What experiment?" Marcus demanded. "What's going on?" The air in the center of the bridge began to shimmer and distort. A figure took shape, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and flowing. "Greetings, humans," the entity said. "I am the architect, and you have just passed the first test." The team stood in stunned silence, the battle momentarily forgotten as they tried to comprehend this new development. The fate of Earth, it seemed, was about to take an unexpected turn. As the architect's presence filled the bridge, the very nature of humanity's struggle and their place in the cosmos was about to be redefined. Turning the tide, the architect's luminous form pulsed gently, casting an otherworldly glow across the bridge of the Galatian ship. The human team and the alien soldiers alike stood frozen, caught between awe and confusion. Marcus was the first to find his voice. "Test? What do you mean, test?" The architect's response seemed to come from everywhere at once, reverberating in their minds as much as their ears. "For eons, we have watched young species emerge across the galaxy. Those with the potential for greatness are presented with a challenge, a crucible to prove their worth." Samira stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "And the Galatians, they're part of this test." The energy being rippled in what might have been amusement. "The Galatians are our instruments, carefully engineered to present a specific threat. They believe their mission is real, but they are merely players in a grand design." The Galatian commander chittered in distress, its worldview crumbling around it. Aisha clutched the resonance disruptor tighter, her mind racing. So all of this, the invasion, the ultimatum, it was all staged. The threat was real, the architect clarified. The danger to your world genuine. But the purpose was not conquest, but catalysis. We needed to see how you would respond when faced with a superior force. Would you crumble, submit, or would you rise to the challenge? Major Tanaka's eyes narrowed. "And if we had failed this test of yours?" The architect's form darkened slightly. "Then you would have been deemed unready, your development stunted until you evolved further. But you have surprised us, humans. Your tenacity, your adaptability, your willingness to set aside old grievances and unite in the face of a common threat. These are the qualities we seek." Marcus shook his head, anger building in his voice. "So you put our entire planet at risk, caused panic and destruction, all for some cosmic entrance exam." "The stakes had to be real," the architect responded, its tone implacable. "Only in the crucible of genuine crisis can a species' true nature be revealed." As the implications sank in, the ship shuddered again, a reminder that the battle outside was still raging. Samira turned to the architect, her expression urgent. "The fighting. You have to stop it. Now that we know the truth, there's no need for more violence." The energy being pulsed thoughtfully. "The conflict cannot be simply switched off. It has taken on a life of its own. But perhaps, yes, this is an opportunity for you to demonstrate true leadership." With a gesture, the architect caused the ship's communication systems to flare to life. "The channel is open to all Earth forces and Galatian ships. Show us how you handle this revelation, humans." The test continues. Marcus exchanged glances with his teammates, then stepped up to the console. He took a deep breath, acutely aware that the fate of Earth might hinge on his next words. "Attention all forces, this is Marcus Kane. I'm broadcasting from the Galatian command ship. I need everyone to cease fire immediately. I repeat, cease all hostilities. The situation is not what we thought." He paused, considering his next words carefully. The Galatian invasion was a test, a challenge created by a far more advanced species to judge our worthiness. We've been played, all of us. But now we have a chance to prove ourselves in a different way. By choosing peace, by showing we're mature enough to set aside our weapons and talk. The architect watched impassively as Marcus continued, explaining the situation to the stunned listeners on both sides of the conflict. As his words sank in, the sounds of battle began to fade. On the holographic displays, they could see Earth ships breaking off their attacks, Galatian vessels powering down their weapons. The Galatian commander stepped forward, its posture uncertain. "If what you say is true, then we too have been deceived. What becomes of us now?" Marcus turned to the alien, his expression softening slightly. "I don't know, but maybe we can figure it out together. This doesn't have to end in more fighting." The architect's form brightened. "An excellent start, humans, but now comes the true challenge. How will you build on this moment? What kind of galactic citizens will you choose to be?" As the energy being spoke, a new holographic display sprang to life. It showed a vast network of stars and planets, far larger than anything humans had ever imagined. "Welcome," the architect said, "to the greater galactic community. You have earned your place among the stars. The question now is, what will you do with it?" The human team stood in awe, the enormity of the moment washing over them. They had come to save Earth, but in doing so, they had opened the door to something far greater. Samira's eyes sparkled with the possibilities. "Think of all we could learn, the civilizations we could encounter." Aisha nodded, her scientific mind already racing. "The technological advancements, the new frontiers of physics we could explore." But Major Tanaka's expression remained cautious. "We'll need to be careful. Just because we passed this test doesn't mean everyone out there will welcome us with open arms." Marcus looked from his teammates to the Galatian commander, then back to the architect. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it the same way we faced this challenge. Together. Adapting, learning, and striving to be better." The architect's form pulsed with what seemed to be approval. A wise outlook. "Remember this moment, humans. It is but the first step on a long journey." As the team absorbed the magnitude of their new reality, alarms on the bridge suddenly blared to life. The holographic displays showed a massive energy surge building within the ship. "What's happening?" Marcus demanded, turning to the Galatian commander. The alien's antenna twitched in confusion. I don't know. Our systems are acting independently." The architect's form began to fade. Your next trial begins now, humans. Consider this a graduation gift. Before anyone could respond, a blinding light engulfed the bridge. The human team felt a lurching sensation, as if reality itself was shifting around them. When the light faded, they found themselves standing not on the alien ship, but on a windswept plain under an alien sky. In the distance, strange structures rose against the horizon. Where are we? Aisha breathed, clutching the now inactive resonance disruptor. Samira pointed to the unfamiliar constellations above. Not anywhere near Earth, that's for sure. Marcus took in their surroundings, a mix of excitement and apprehension on his face. I think this is where our real journey begins. As the team gathered their wits, preparing to face this new unknown, they knew one thing for certain. Humanity's adventure among the stars was just beginning. The greatest challenges and the greatest opportunities still lay ahead. A new era dawns. The alien sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting long shadows across the windswept plain where Marcus, Samira, Aisha, and Yuki stood. The strange, swirling structures in the distance gleamed in the morning light, their purpose as mysterious as their origins. Well, Marcus said, breaking the stunned silence that had fallen over the group, I guess this is what the architect meant by a graduation gift. Aisha knelt, examining the soil beneath their feet. The atmospheric composition seems Earth-like, at least. We can breathe. Major Tanaka was already scanning their surroundings, her military training kicking in. We need to find shelter, water, and try to establish some form of communication. We have no idea what kind of threats might exist here. Samira's eyes were fixed on the distant structures. Those buildings, they don't look natural. There might be intelligent life here. As if in response to her words, a low humming filled the air. The team tensed as a sleek, silver craft appeared on the horizon, rapidly approaching their position. Get ready for anything, Marcus warned, wishing he still had his weapon. The craft slowed as it neared, hovering a few meters above the ground. A hatch opened, and a figure emerged, distinctly alien, yet somehow familiar. It was roughly humanoid, with silvery skin and large, expressive eyes. The being raised a hand in what was unmistakably a gesture of peace. Then, to the human's amazement, it spoke in perfect English. Welcome, children of Earth. We've been expecting you. The next few hours were a whirlwind of revelations. The alien, who introduced himself as Zarn, explained that their world, Luminara, was a sort of graduation station for species who had passed the architect's tests. Many races have stood where you stand now, Zarn told them as he led them towards the city, each bringing their own unique perspectives and abilities to our galactic coalition. Inside the city, the humans were awestruck. Advanced technology beyond their wildest dreams was seamlessly integrated with natural elements. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved about, some recognizable from Earth legends, others defying description. This is incredible, Aisha breathed, her scientific mind struggling to process everything she was seeing. The advancements here, we could spend lifetimes just beginning to understand them. Zarn nodded, a gentle smile on his face. And you will have that opportunity. But first, there is much to discuss. They were led to a grand hall, where representatives from dozens of alien races were gathered. At the center stood a familiar figure, the architect, now in a more solid form, but still radiating power and wisdom. Humanity's champions, the architect's voice resonated through the hall. You stand here not just as representatives of your species, but as symbols of potential realized. Your actions in the face of the Galician challenge have proven your worth. Marcus stepped forward, his voice firm. With all due respect, we didn't come here to be judged. We came to protect our world. The architect's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. And in doing so, you have opened the door to protecting and nurturing countless worlds. The galaxy is vast, filled with wonders and dangers alike. We need species like yours, adaptable, resilient, innovative, to help maintain the balance." Samira's eyes widened as she began to understand. "You're offering us a place in this galactic coalition." "More than that," Zarn interjected. "We're offering you partnership, a chance to learn, to grow, and to contribute to the greatest endeavor in the cosmos, the preservation and advancement of life itself." The implications were staggering. Humanity, in one fell swoop, had gone from a single-planet species to potential custodians of the galaxy. Major Tanaka, ever practical, raised a crucial point. "And what about Earth? Our people back home have no idea what's happened to us." The architect gestured, and a holographic image of Earth appeared, surrounded by the Galician fleet. "Even now, the situation is being explained to your world leaders. They are being offered the same choice we present to you, to join us in our mission." "But," Marcus said, a note of suspicion in his voice, "I'm guessing there are conditions." "Of course," the architect replied. "Great power comes with great responsibility. You will need to prove that you can wield advanced technology wisely, that you can settle your internal conflicts peacefully, that you can be stewards of not just your own world, but of any you encounter." Aisha stepped forward, her eyes shining with the possibilities. "The scientific advancements, the discoveries we could make, and the cultures we could learn from," Samira added, her linguist's mind already racing with the potential of alien languages and societies. Yuki remained cautious. "It sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch?" Zarn's expression grew serious. "The catch, as you put it, is that the cosmos is not always a friendly place. There are forces out there that seek to destroy, to conquer, to unmake the very fabric of reality. By joining us, you will be expected to stand against these threats." The team exchanged glances, the weight of the decision pressing down on them. They had come to save Earth, but now found themselves poised to change the destiny of their entire species. Marcus took a deep breath, then turned to address the assembled aliens. "We can't make this decision for all of humanity, but speaking for myself, I've seen enough to know that we'd be fools to turn this opportunity down. Whatever challenges lie ahead, I believe humans will rise to meet them." One by one, his teammates nodded their agreement. The architect's form brightened. "Then let it be so. Return to your world, ambassadors of Earth. Share what you have learned. Prepare your people for the wonders and responsibilities that await them among the stars." As the hall erupted in a chorus of alien voices, some cheering, others discussing excitedly in languages no human had ever heard before, Marcus and his team found themselves surrounded by beings eager to welcome them to the galactic community. Samira turned to Marcus, her eyes wide with wonder. "You know, when we started this mission, I never imagined it would end like this." Marcus grinned, the excitement of new horizons beginning to overshadow the trials they had faced. "And, Samira, I've got a feeling this is just the beginning." As they prepared for their return to Earth, each member of the team knew that they were standing on the brink of a new era for humanity. The challenges ahead would be great, but so too would be the opportunities. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and nothing would ever be the same again. The stars, once distant and unreachable, now beckoned with the promise of adventure, discovery, and a destiny greater than they had ever imagined.